Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Deskwarmers Podcast. This is Ike.
And this is Matthew. Hello, how we doing out there?
Now, Matthew, something's looking a little different than our usual podcasts.
Are you talking about my new camera angle? Look at this. It's so up. Like I'm looking up. It's great.
That definitely compliments you, but there's something about your appearance, maybe the outfit you're wearing.
My outfit, Ike.
Yeah.
My outfit, my proper attire, my tie, and my suit jacket. You know what I'm doing today, right?
What's up with that?
I have to give my Jikoushokai.
Jikoshoukai time.
Did you forget?
It's been like 2 years since I've given one.
Dude, you have to give your Jikoshoukai today to the class.
We should have... Honestly, it's rude to us that we've done this podcast for so long without giving jikoshokais.
I know. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Yeah. Okay. So our idea for this episode is kind of to be like, let's go through our jikoshokais. Let's talk about what works. Let's talk about what doesn't work. And also some other example PowerPoint lessons, stuff that we've actually done in the classroom. And see if that works or if that doesn't work and talk about that.
Yeah. And I mean, for those who don't know, Jikoshoukai is our self-introduction lesson. And so that's very popular. You basically have to give it every year, every time you get new students, anytime you go to a new school. So you do end up doing this presentation a lot. So there is some emphasis on it there. And then we do have some other fun PowerPoints we've made. I know I have some like English activities that I have pulled up. And then just some things about, sharing our culture with the world.
Yes. Cultural touchstones in the classroom.
For the audio listeners, I know we'll try to do our best to describe it, but it'll be a little challenging, I'm sure, at times.
Oh my gosh. Audio listeners, I completely forgot about you. I'm so sorry. But
come over to YouTube.
No, and while you're there, subscribe. I mean, like the video.
That's a good
point. You'll get a new perspective on the Jikoshoukai. Let's see if this actually works as an audio-only function. I mean, I know I put a lot of time, probably too much time into crafting my PowerPoints. What about you?
I put a little bit of time, I'll say. And looking back, so it's been 2 years since I've looked at any of these PowerPoints. I would say now that I'm in, a salary man job, I think my PowerPoint game has actually greatly improved since my time in Japan. But I did choose for a more simple route, I'll say. I'm also not the most artistic guy, so but yeah, we'll give it a shot. We can roast each other's PowerPoints.
Simplicity is elegance, really, sometimes.
Sometimes.
Let's Ike, I won't hold back. That's all I'm saying.
Are you going to lead us out here with your
I mean, I'm wearing the tie.
All right.
I might as well.
Let's see it.
Let's see if I can get this freaking thing open. It's titled Matthew Sensei Introduction. So
right on the point.
Right on the point. Exactly. Yes.
Wow.
So, okay, let's imagine I'm in the classroom. I'm standing there. The JTE is just introducing me in her best English. Today, we have a new ALT sensei. Everybody, please welcome Mashu sensei. And then they don't clap.
But you already have my attention. There's some animations going on here.
Yeah.
I like the background.
Yeah. So...
I'm intrigued already.
If we're doing like a critique of this, okay, not only do I have English self-introduction, Matthew Sensei, I also have Mashu Sensei, and then a little arrow. This was actually the last photo of me and my mom before I left for Japan. She's still alive. She actually delivered some ice cream to me earlier today.
That's good. That's good.
But this is at the old KCI airport. Okay, so let's go through this. Mashu Sensei. Hello.
Whoa. Okay, but so first of all, very entertaining. There's a big kick on the screen, but this is after you've already been in Japan for like a bit of time. This couldn't have been your initial.
No. In fact, I should have prefaced this.
Those are the Sakura. Yeah.
I should have prefaced this. This is my version 2.
Oh.
This is after I've been. This is like my second year Jikoshoukai.
Okay.
Should have prefaced
Did you
that.
change up the games or anything much?
There are no games in mine.
No games. Okay, mine
No
is
games.
game heavy.
Yours game heavy?
I had a full worksheet.
I had a worksheet. I guess I should explain that before I go any further. What I would do is I would pass out a worksheet that had like 5 like English questions of like A, B, C, D, like just fill out as you're playing, as you're like watching, and like think of some questions to ask. And then I had an activity at the very end where students do their own English Jikoshoukai. And then if they have time, draw a picture of me, which that was my favorite. I love
that one's. Very.
You stole that from me.
Unshamelessly. What's the opposite of shamelessly?
Shamefully.
I without any remorse, I took that activity from you.
Unshamelessly.
Yeah, okay. It's been a long
Without
day.
no remorse, he took that idea.
It's been a long day. Without any remorse, I took that activity from you, Matthew, and I still use that picture that one of the students drew for me as my profile picture on a lot of different things.
That is like my one biggest piece of advice. Whatever you do at some point in your jet career, get your students to all draw you. It's hilarious. Yes. Okay, so for audio listeners, it's a screen that says hello and then a picture of me jumping midair and kicking. And what I say is a pretty good picture.
It's a great picture.
And then another picture of me. Hey, same tie. My name is Matthew. I'm 24 years old. I am from America. I have lived in Japan for around 2 years. I like photography and playing the guitar.
Pretty good.
Do you have any
pretty
notes?
Good content. No, okay. my little fun facts are largely the same as well. So.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Good.
My family. Of course, I had to censor this a little bit because I don't want to show real pictures. I guess I showed a picture of my mom, so I don't know what that's about. But there's my dad. There's my mom. There's my older sister. And there's me. In the real photo, it would have made a little more sense, but that kind of
such a happy family.
Yeah, I love the Ira Stoya pictures.
Actually, and that's a good thing, Matthew. If you want to quickly explain to the audience what those are.
I would love to. I love Ira Stoya. Ira Stoya is a free-to-use online picture set database made by this one artist, or he might have a team now, or she, I don't know. And they're pictures that look like this. So if you've been around the Japanese internet and have seen little caricatures, clip arts of people in a very simplistic style, look like they were drawn by crayon, that's Ira Stoya, so illustration shop. Yeah. And they're free to use pictures, and you see them all the time on like public service announcements, worksheets. I mean, you search it up, use it in your PowerPoints, stuff like that.
For sure. And all the kids will know exactly what they're looking at here as well. Very popular.
Mm-hmm. Very popular. And they even have One Piece versions, which I like.
Wow.
One Piece.
One Piece.
My pets. Whoa.
Wow.
Teddy, Yellow Labrador. Chancho, English Bulldog. On the worksheet, I would have then a space for them to write down, which do you like better? Teddy or Chancho? And then
those are some cute photos.
With the class, they raise their hand. It gets them a little bit out of their shell because, like, even some classes were a little nervous raising their hands to see, like, oh, do you like this dog or do you like this dog? But
who is the winner, Matthew?
It's almost always Chancho.
It's always Chancho.
Look at him. Look at him. He's a little pig. He's a little piggy. Moving on. My friends. Wow.
Oh, that's a great picture.
Wow, that's a great picture, Ike. Look at you, dude. Look at you. Look at Sam as well. I use this picture. And then I show them a map of the United States. No context. And I point over to California and I circle it. I'm like, do you know Dodgers? The Los Angeles Dodgers and Shohei Ohtani. I'm like, he's in California right here. California, and then I say this, California and a little bit into Oregon is about the size of Japan.
That's crazy.
I think lengthwise it's about from north to south in the United States on the West Coast. But as far as like land space goes, it's comparable to California.
It's actually hilarious seeing this because my presentation is kind of similar in a lot of aspects. Like as far as topics and explaining the size of the US versus Japan.
Yeah, and like how and when you drip information, like what's first, what's second, what's third. So I tell them this is California, you probably know California. And then I also ask, I'm like, do you know any other places? So like kids will like come up, like they'll either shout out or maybe they raise their hand. Like, oh, I know New York. And then I go all the way over to the other side of the board. I'm like, New York is right here. And then they're like, oh, I know Chicago. And I'm like, Chicago's right here. I know Florida. And I'm like, Florida's down here. And I'm like, you know where I'm from? Oh, I thought there was a circle. I go up to Kansas. I go up to Kansas and I circle it. And then I have a Kansas flag. I don't have it on me. And then I wave the Kansas flag. I take it out.
Wow.
Good and
content.
Then moving on. I'm from Kansas City, Kansas, USA. Kansas City is famous for, and then I know for video viewers, this is not a picture of Kansas City, Kansas. This is a picture of Kansas City, Missouri. But they don't know that. Kansas City's famous for barbecue. Wow. Yummy. And they're like, oh, umaso. American barbecue tabetai. Umaso. Cho uma. It looks delicious is what they're saying. And like, I want to eat it. And then it's famous for football and baseball. Nobody knows who Norichika Aoki is, but he was a player for the Royals. And then this is Patrick Mahomes, which now they know who Travis Kelce is because he's dating Taylor Swift.
Just from Taylor Swift?
Yes, they do.
That's fun.
And then jazz music. And I see if there's any like brass band players, swing girls in the... I almost said in the chat, in the audience of the class that I'm teaching.
Yeah.
Then I go, my high school education. Of course, I don't want to dox my high school where I went, but I went to blank high school. Our mascot is blank. In high school, I made videos and I took Chinese classes. Here's me at the Great Wall of China.
Wow. Little Matthew.
In high school, I was in a rock band, and there's me shredding on the guitar. And then I do my college education. I'll tell you my college. I went to Marquette University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Our mascot is Iggy the Golden Eagle. I studied political science and Asian studies, and on the weekends, I watched basketball games. And I have some pictures of Marquette University right here. And then, this is why I bring up the mascots. Which mascots do you like better? So it was the same thing with... Chancho and Teddy. They would have to vote on that, and then I censored the mascot
from your high school.
But they all liked Iggy better.
Okay, Iggy was cooler.
Mm-hmm. And then to cap off my presentation, I go into my favorite things. Okay, my favorite movies.
Ooh,
wow. I ask, so on the screen is Princess Mononoke and Dune, which I just put up there as an American movie. It's not my favorite movie, but like I want to make it easy on them, you know?
Yeah.
I asked them if they can guess the name of Mononoke Hime,
which
English.
Isn't a very hard name considering certain translations of movies and shows into English.
However, they never get it.
I mean, Hime, I wonder if people know what Hime is. Maybe not. Princess.
They know, I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe they're too shy.
That's probably it too.
Okay. So we get your movies.
My movies, my favorite music. Some selections here. And I have some music genres on here, some pictures. They know the Kimi no Nawa soundtrack cover, so they know what that is. Not many of them know who Henri is, but Timely, that's a great album. That is a fantastic album. I don't have my sleeper Japanese folk rock picks in here, but because I tried and they don't know them. they don't know them. I have better taste in Japanese music than they do. Well, of course, they're all listening to K-pop.
That you will quickly realize, right, when you are adapting your introduction presentation, is some things just go way over their heads.
Yeah.
Like some things they will not understand or have ever heard of. And in that case, I definitely made some alterations, like different times, you know?
Yeah. And then I taught high schoolers in America, well, substitute taught.
Yeah.
Like they don't get some of the things that would be obvious to me, like culture wise. I had to tell a kid who Michael Jackson was the other day.
What? That's crazy.
In a different day, I was talking about Rihanna, and a kid like on his MacBook was typing in, "Is Rihanna an actress?" And okay, anyway,
these iPad kids,
iPad kids for sure. And then I have some games, and I threw some games that like I like that I know that they'll also know, or at least I'm hoping they'll
some
also
of them.
know.
Yeah.
So I have Valorant, Minecraft, Pokemon Sapphire, and then GeoGuessr. Like the kids who know Valorant, I can talk to some stuff about Valorant with them. Or like everyone knows Minecraft and Pokemon. The kids who know GeoGuessr, which there were a few, I was like,
was
you're
there
my homie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially now, I think it's become a little more popular.
Okay.
And then anime. I put Hunter x Hunter and One Piece.
Yeah.
One Piece. And they're all like, "Oh, we love One Piece because Oda Sensei is what they call him."
Who's your favorite One Piece character, Matthew?
That's a tough question. I like Nami because she's a cartographer, but I also like Sanji because he cooks.
Okay.
But I don't like Sanji's personality. He's kind of annoying.
I'm a big Tony Chopper fan
Tony
myself.
Chopper's the best.
I'm a big Tony
might be the
Chopper.
best. He's the doctor.
Yeah.
And then I really like teaching in Town Name.
Nice.
And there's me with a chainsaw, a picture of me as a cowboy.
Cowboy.
And a picture of the sunset.
Wow.
So that's it. Yeah.
Nice.
Any comments, Ike?
No, I mean it's you definitely, I mean we'll see when I share mine next. You definitely went a little bit more detail into certain areas. And then how long would you say this typically takes to get through this whole presentation?
Well, when they're asking me questions, they're filling out their worksheets. We're doing the like, which do you like better? I'd say probably 20 minutes.
Okay. Would you typically have the full like 45-minute class?
Yeah, we don't do this unless we have the full 45-minute class, 50-minute class.
Yeah, I was trying to remember, some of my classes were 50, I think.
By year 2 or 3, I had trouble showing this Jikoshoukai because some of my JTEs were like, "No, we don't have time for this."
Yeah, they're too busy like studying and they can't spend a whole precious class hour on us ALT. So.
Which for high school ALTs, you'll run into we don't have time for that. Always.
Yeah. And
grade
even
school, middle school ALTs, they always have time.
Yeah, the high school, you'll be like, "Oh, I really want to share about this holiday coming up," and sometimes you won't get to. So,
speaking of getting to,
but yes,
Ike, let's get to your Jikoshoukai.
Okay.
I would love to see this.
Yeah, let me share my screen here as well.
Onegai shimasu, please.
So, I will walk through mine. So, just as a as a disclaimer, though, I would pass out a worksheet.
One sec.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Sure.
Okay, good.
Okay. So I would always pass out a worksheet, and I would also expect to take the whole class period for this. So similar to Matthew, I have basic facts. United States, North Carolina. At this point, it was my second year as well, this presentation that I had. But it was, I would say, probably 80 or 90% the same as my first year at Jikoshoukai. I didn't change too much. I also have a map of the U.S., only highlighting my state, however. And what I would do for mine is I would say, basically, if I drive from here to a different prefecture in Kumamoto, it would take me like 2 hours.
In Kyushu?
And I'd be like, in Kyushu. I'd be like, okay. And all the kids are like, like, drive 2 hours in Kyushu. And I'm like, okay, guess how long it would take me to drive, or how long would 2 hours be on the United States map? And then I would do a very dramatic little pencil, and I would do like the smallest little centimeter that you can even draw on this map, and be funny. Like, oh, that's 2 hours. I'm like,
that's
like,
funny.
We've already been 2 hours. And then
geography shock them.
I would like kind of similarly show that, oh, maybe if I want to drive to Florida, it might be like 8 hours or 10 hours or something like that. So that was always, I tried to give them a little bit of perspective about how large the US is. So for mine, I decided to share all of my facts as a game. And so what I did is I would first put all of the students into teams. So I would make them push their desks together into teams of like 4 students. And so that would take a few minutes at the start. And then after that, I would say, okay, we're gonna play 2 truths and a lie. And so I'd have to explain the rules maybe a few times until they'd understand it. Sometimes I would have to give a little Japanese, be like futatsu, honto, and then I'd be like hitotsu, uso, or something like that.
Would your JTE help explain the rules as well?
If necessary, yes. Typically, they would like just let me handle it. But if a student was maybe really confused, or if the class in general was having trouble, then they might jump in. And so what I would do next is I would have a practice round, and I would tell them, so I would make the teams decide one answer as a team. So they had to talk to each other to pick out an answer out of the 4. So I'd say, which one is the lie? And so I would read out, I have traveled to Europe, I have traveled to Australia, or I've traveled to Africa. And so then they would say what they think is the lie. So in this case, I've never been to Australia, but I have been to France, and I've been to the pyramids in Egypt. So I would kind of share. Ooh.
I could have gotten this.
Maybe you'll go like 7 for 7, Matthew. I as a friend, you should.
Oh,
I
I'll
think
play.
You should.
I'll play. I'm an icologist.
Oh, okay. So next one is college major. So English, Japanese, and computer science. So I studied 2 of these things.
You didn't study English.
I did not study English. And this one tricks a lot of people too, which is kind of intentional, because they're like, oh, surely he's an English teacher, so he must have studied English. But nope. I basically am like, nope. And at this point too, it's a good chance for me to say, oh, like I do know some Japanese as well.
I mean, whomst among us has studied English? Am I right?
Not many. Yeah. Then I do pets. I have 2 dogs, I have 1 cat, or I have 2 bunnies. Most people get this correct.
You don't have any bunnies.
I do not have any bunnies. And so similar to Matthew, I have some pictures of my animals. And I'll kind of walk through them. Or rather my parents' animals, I guess. They're not really mine. But same for me. The best comedic info on this slide, though, is the cat's name is Cat. So I'll be like, okay, I have this dog named Prince, this other dog named Ezzy, and I'm like, and then I have a cat named Cat. And the students' brains buffer for about 5 seconds, and then they just start laughing. They're like, that. Poor cat. They're like so sad. They're like, no, not the cat. They're like, what is her real name? Funny. And I'm like, Cat. So yeah, then they all feel bad for the cat, because I do feel like, I don't know the percentage, but I do feel like more Japanese people like cats more than dogs.
I think that's true.
I feel like if you polled everyone in Japan, it'd be like a 60-40 split at least.
You're probably not far off.
Yeah.
You definitely hear about more people with cats because their apartments are a little more accommodating, or their homes are a little more accommodating for felines.
A lot of apartment living, yeah. I talk about high school sports. So did I play soccer, tennis, or volleyball in high school? Or which one did I not play between soccer, tennis, and volleyball? What do you think, Matthew?
I think that the careful listener of our podcast would be able to get this question correctly, because you didn't start playing volleyball until your study abroad trip in college.
He's too good.
I'm an icologist.
Too good.
Icology was my major.
It is very true. I did not play volleyball, but ironically enough, that's the only sport I play now. So it is pretty funny. And then I talk about Japanese food. So unagi, sushi, or takoyaki. I say, which one do I not like? So which of these foods do I not like?
Oh, I don't think you like sushi.
That is correct.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
And this one I think is pretty good because they're all like seafood a little bit, right, as well. And they're all kind of like weird things. And most people are like, oh, it would never be sushi. So people usually guess one of the other two. But I do think this game is fun for the group setting rather than just having all the students on themselves, because every slide I give them maybe 30 or 40 seconds to like talk with themselves. And of course they're talking in Japanese, but it's just fun to get them like excited about the game and like excited about learning about me.
Yeah, this would be really fun.
Yeah. I do a cosplay slide. So I've cosplayed Anya from Spy Family, Kakashi from Naruto, or Luffy from One Piece. So which one have I not cosplayed? I think you know the answer to this one as well.
I also think avid listeners of the podcast would probably be able to eliminate at least one of these. You're not a Luffy, bro.
I have never done Luffy. Just not. And so then I have some pictures.
That's a cursed picture.
This picture is our friends, and this is Halloween, and you'll see some of our past podcast guests. All of us dressed as Anya. We went as Anya one Halloween, which is hilarious. We were the talk of the town for certain.
The talk of the town.
And then I've done Kakashi, and then 7 Deadly Sins, and Trafalgar from One Piece, but not Luffy.
I think you would be more of a Sanji.
More of a Sanji? You just said you didn't like Sanji's personality.
Well, I'm not talking about personality. I'm talking about looks.
Oh, looks? I could just do the eyebrows, the little eyebrow curls.
And you have kind of the goatee and blonde hair. That's why I say that.
Yeah, I could shave it down. It could work.
Yeah, it could work.
And so...
my turn.
Yeah, and so then I will have all the students on their sheets write their own 2 truths, 1 lie. And I will usually on the board write a few examples. So I'll say like, my favorite blank is, and then I'll say like, I have been to, or I have traveled to. And so I'll usually try to write a few sentence structures on the board that they can use depending on the level. Yeah. And so I'll make all the students write it, and then I'll get them to all stand up and walk around and play with like at least 3 of their classmates is what I do for that. And I try to get them to mingle thoroughly. Yeah. And then after that, they'll sit back down. I'll have them all write down 2 questions for me. So things that I did not answer in my jikoshoukai. And then as a group, they have to pick 1 question. So I make every table ask me 1 question. And usually, you know, every class asks very similar questions. There's not too many, like people, since I haven't included in my PowerPoint, people don't know my favorite color or my birthday or like certain like information
your,
like
blood
that.
Type.
Yeah, my blood type, what type of girl I like. You know, I haven't included those.
Those are popular ones
in my presentation. And then the final activity, if there's enough time, and this is kind of like Matthew had, it's like a buffer activity. So typically we would get to it, but maybe we'd only have like 5 minutes left at the end of the class. And so this is an activity that I could run for as long as I needed to, or really as short as you needed to. And so basically I'll ask the students to tell me something that they like, with the intention that I would then, you know, be able to kind of think about what they like. But in reality, I can't recognize the name to the face. So that's unfortunate. But they would usually draw like a food or anime or something that they're interested in. So it was a good session. I think the students got pretty engaged most of the time. So I was happy with it overall.
Yeah. I get that. I think what you do, even if your PowerPoint is a little more bare bones, I think you do a really good job at keeping the students engaged, active, and like constantly talking, paying attention. That's what I wish I would have done a little more with mine, because sometimes, you know, you look out into a sea of faces that all don't look like they want to be there.
Yeah.
Wait, none of them look like they want to be there.
And for me, that was the most important thing, is I didn't want to be talking the whole, 30, 40 minutes. I wanted to try to get them to practice some English as well. So
yeah, I didn't want to make them work too hard. Not gonna lie.
And then I do know for my my final lesson, I did steal your idea for the photo. for them to draw me, because that's a really fun activity, because so many of those students are so talented as well. Like, it's crazy, to be honest.
I've seen another version of that. Like, they were doing some kind of travel activity, and my predecessor did this. It was not draw the ALT, but draw yourself. And if you just want to see like the kids, like, image of themselves on a piece of paper, like how they view themselves and portray themselves. I was like looking through a few of the past documents. They were kind of funny. Really good art on them. And then even like the most simplistic smiley face is like, it's like Picasso in like a good way,
So that's good content though. I think typically, I don't know how it works for most years. I know since we were quarantined, we had like a long time to think about our Jikoushokai presentations.
I still think
I have heard though of some ALTs that get dropped in, and basically like day 2 they're doing their Jikoshokais. It's like you arrive in Japan and they throw you into a class.
I think it depends on when you arrive. Early arrivals will have that experience. They will probably just need to go right away. But standard arrivals, when you get there, it's their summer vacation. It's like late July, usually, if the schedule's still correct like that. And you will need to, you won't need to, you will have about a month of, wait for it, desk warming to do whatever you want. This is when you really hone in your Jikoushokai, okay? Like, you have weeks to do nothing but work on a PowerPoint about yourself. And you'll try to ask for more work. And they'll be like, well, I guess you could get ahead and make a PowerPoint for a few weeks in the future, but I don't know if you'd want to do that because, the schedule is still up in the air for the semester, that kind of thing. Love it.
So it'll depend. And I know typically that first week, I would say you are doing like setting up your bank account and you're doing all of your like utilities and going to City Hall and like just doing like certain things like that as well. So I would say it's probably not usual that they would force you to immediately hop in, but it's not bad to be prepared for at least have an idea of what you want to do.
Sure. So. Yeah, agree. Speaking of having a lot of time to make PowerPoints in the very beginning, something you might want to consider doing is making a holiday PowerPoint.
This is very true.
Ike, do you have any holiday PowerPoint?
I do have a holiday pulled up.
I also have a holiday PowerPoint pulled up.
I have Christmas.
I have the 4th of July.
Okay, we're good.
Which is not really a holiday for them, but I still like to talk about it. Nice. If you want to use your desk warming time wisely, wow, we're really putting like the essence of the show into this episode. If you want to use your desk warming time to the best of your ability, make a bunch of, I don't want to call them BS, because it's really like, this is why they pay us to go over and teach and like spread our culture. I have a lot of fun with these random culture PowerPoints, you could call them, where maybe there's not a lot going on in the semester, or you talk to your JTE and they're like, okay, Christmas is coming up or Thanksgiving is coming up for Americans. Like, do you want to have a cultural presentation about what that holiday means to you and your people? And usually the JTEs will allow for like a whole class period, sometimes half a class period, to explain what the holiday means, give it more context, and allow the kids to ask questions that they really want to ask.
Yeah. You want to pull yours up, Matthew?
I will pull my up. Well, now my Thanksgiving one is kind of a banger, but I'll do 4th of July. I'll do 4th of July, but I have to preface it that this is for Japanese high schoolers, and I simplify a lot of things here. And that might be kind of the core essence of giving one of these.
Let's see what you got.
America's birthday. So like when they walk in the class, they'll see this on the screen. They'll be like, America's birthday. So maybe I'll be something like, do you know what today is? And then usually they can kind of guess. They're like, it's America's birthday. I'm like, that's exactly correct.
Wow. The intelligence.
On July 4th, 1776, America sent a letter to the King of England. The letter said, "We want independence." And audio listeners, independence is highlighted. And then I hang on that word a little bit. I'm like, independence. Independence. What does that mean? I ask around, independence. Does anyone know? No one knows. The JTE knows. Maybe she chimes in with a little dokuritsu.
Ooh, that's a smooth transition there. The separate slide for the vocab. Mm-hmm. I like that.
Because it's Independence Day.
Yeah.
America's birthday, the 4th of July. They're all tied in. So then I go back to some history. America fought a war against England. America wanted freedom. They defeated England in 1781. Like, so simplistic. Yeah, you gotta be as simple as possible, because it's really not about the history for them. Maybe it's interesting to some people. You know, it's how we got here. Okay. Mm-hmm. Freedom. Jishou.
Nope.
Shoot. Jew. Jew, not Jishou. That's my bad. My hiragana reading.
That's all right. A little rusty.
It's a little rusty. Jew.
And wow. I am already noticing, though, you are doing a good job, because I'm thinking about the level of words you're using in these sentences, and it is pretty like elementary. I feel like letter, sent, you know, maybe war is something they might not know, but
senso.
Yeah. I think overall, though, it can be understandable. Mm-hmm. So
I think so. Well, wait till you get to the next couple slides.
The next part.
America's birthday is Independence Day, is the 4th of July holiday. So I wrap that all around. I'm like, we have couple different concepts here. Like, we see Independence Day as maybe America's birthday, and it's the 4th of July, you know. Okay.
I'm picking it up.
You're picking it up. Americans celebrate this holiday every year with big parties, fireworks shows, and summer activities. I got some nice pictures of some fireworks here, and there's the president clapping at something. Let's party! And I have a great big stock photo of a picnic on the 4th of July.
Who's really gonna wear an American t-shirt
on the 4th of July?
Actually, I mean, if I had one,
I'd probably wear it on the 4th of July.
That's the only time you really can, you know.
That's like, this is when you get, like, this is the one day you go all out as an American. For all non-Americans listening, it's like, yeah, let's be really American today. Americans usually have a barbecue on the 4th of July.
Then you got to define barbecue as hamburgers and hot dogs.
I have a completely other barbecue lesson if you want.
Okay. No, we don't have to go into that.
But. Well, we could later. There are many games and lots of good food. Hamburgers.
Okay.
Watermelon. Corn.
That is
it might be my favorite picture I've ever used.
That's a funny picture.
It's a picture of a guy holding corn.
His smile's a little creepy, though.
No, it's a normal smile. Like, he's just so genuine looking.
I guess so.
Wait a minute. He looks like the third guest on the podcast.
The third guest?
Like, he looks like our guest. Like, if this were just a screenshot of the podcast, it would be like he's talking to us about corn.
I can be the thumbnail.
Yeah. Maybe. Hot dogs. Which, well, they call a corn dog American dog.
Yep.
But hot dogs, hot dog. And, oh, what's this? Speaking of hot dogs. I show them the I show them that Joey Chestnut eats a record-breaking amount of hot dogs. Oh, Allstate commercial.
Oh, we're getting an ad.
We're not gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Where was that?
That's good content though.
I was hoping it would play right in the viewer.
Yeah.
Oh, now I don't know how to get back into it. There we go. Fireworks.
And
yeah.
Fireworks are just better in Japan though. They're crazy. Yeah. They take them so seriously. You're there for like 3 straight hours watching explosions.
For a fireworks show.
Yeah.
I will say they're better in like Taiwan or in China. They go all out. Well, that's like people lighting them up in the streets, but like fireworks shows I think are really good in Japan.
Yeah,
you're right. Fireworks shows on the 4th of July are very popular. Almost every city in America has a show. And then I explained what like Pyro City is.
Did you know fireworks are illegal in North Carolina?
They're, I think, illegal in some cities in Kansas, but not everywhere. But they're illegal across North Carolina.
You have to drive to Virginia to get fireworks, like ones that shoot up in the air.
And I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, does this seem dangerous? I asked the kids, does this seem dangerous? And then I showed them this video. You know what this is?
No.
You've never seen this?
I've never seen this.
Bag up.
Back up.
Oh, no.
Reverse, Terry.
Oh, I've seen reverse.
Oh, Lord, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Oh, Jesus. What you doing, Terry? Terry, what you doing?
Ike, are you okay?
That's good. No, that's a good video.
I have seen that before.
I have seen that.
Bag it up, Terry.
I have a good video of myself with some fireworks as well. I'll have to share.
Yeah. Oh, and then that's the final video. So that's a shorter lesson. That's like a half. Yeah. That's a half day lesson for me. Any thoughts?
I like it. I think you go into all the key principles of the 4th of July with a little history in there, some vocab.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it was a pretty solid presentation.
I like putting videos. Like, I'm not going to show my Thanksgiving video, but I do a video of the Japanese, like, the Japanese news report of what the presidential turkey pardon is.
Oh.
That's always very interesting. The kids are like, what is pardoning, first? And second of all, why are you doing it to turkeys? Second of all, what is a turkey?
What is a turkey is their second question.
Shichi-mencho. And they're like, I kind of got it.
Yeah, they don't really understand.
Okay. So that's a good 4th of July one.
No, I think it was a solid presentation.
Thank you.
I'll put my Christmas presentation. I'm not going to go through this in entirety at all, but...
Hold on.
Yep.
Okay, good.
One thing that I found to be really fun was Jeopardy as a concept. Japanese kids do not know what Jeopardy is. So I'll print out the sheet, and I do it a little different than Jeopardy. I don't have I don't have like individuals saying the answer out loud. What I'll do is I'll divide them into teams of usually, again, same like 4 students. So they'll put their groups together. And then those 4 students will be a group. So they'll be a team with 1 sheet for all of them. And the sheet will have space. And I did import this from PowerPoint, so it looks a little whack. But there would be space on the sheet for each of these same like categories. And so then what I would ask is, okay, and I would usually take turns. So I'd be like, all right, one team, like pick a number and category. Or sometimes if you're trying to go through quicker, I'll just go through them in order as well. And the concept being that I will show a picture, which will, in presentation mode, only have, the question. And by the way, this red is miserable now that I'm looking at it.
It's a good red.
This is a very bright red. My eyes are kind of burning. And so I'll typically give some different options. And if they write it down, The one thing I do heavily emphasize in this game, though, is English. And spelling, I don't dock points, though. So if they misspell something, it's okay, because I do think a lot of kids are going to have trouble with some of these
are they
words.
Doing this on the board or on a piece of paper?
So they each team has a sheet of paper, and so they will, as a team, I think I do have the Jeopardy music, like a 15 or 30-second clip.
I love Jeopardy. Yes.
And so it'll play the music, and then the students figure out, once the music's done, the time's up. And so they'll all write an answer, and then I don't even typically ask for an answer. I will just explain it out loud, and then I'll ask them to circle. So in Japan, a circle on a paper is actually a good thing. So I'll get them to bring their red pens out. They'll maru the paper if they get it correct. And then at the end, I will ask them to count. I don't do money points. I'll just ask them to count how many marus they had, like how many circles did they get.
Okay.
And so I have just a lot of questions about Christmas, and some of the answers are quite funny, though. So I do always collect the sheets at the end just so I can read through them. Some people put Santa's socks for stockings. And I'm like, that's a pretty good guess, because they don't know. And then the snow angel's always good as well. They have trouble with that one.
What's this in English? Dead guy? I don't know.
Yeah, something with snow. Oh, I guess I wrote Japanese on some of these. That doesn't make any sense. These are all the same Japanese. Okay,
I think it's probably an error from your export.
Yeah, something with the export there. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Do you like tea or hot chocolate better?
It's mistletoe.
And then the favorite section I'll skip to at the end, though, of course, one of the most difficult questions is, do Americans eat chicken, or do they eat KFC on Christmas? And I will just say, write yes or no. So they have a 50-50. And I would say 70% put no.
70.
Or put yes. 70% said yes, Americans do eat KFC chicken on Christmas. So that's always very entertaining as well. But this will take the whole class going through it, because I will do a decent amount of explaining for each of these sections as well. And I think for the Jeopardy PowerPoint, there are exports online of just the framework for it. And then I just went through and added all of the questions.
You know what? We can put this in the Discord.
Oh, sure.
There's that website. I'm trying to think. I may have already sent it, but it's like the resource tools, like the ALT lesson kit tools.
Yeah.
It's literally the first website you look up that comes up on Google when you look up ideas for JET program ALT, or otherwise Japanese ALT. What do we have here?
Very quickly, I was just going to pull up another thing while we were on customs here. But I agree completely, Matthew. We should definitely pull up those resources as well. But Jeopardy is a lot of fun. I did a Halloween Jeopardy, a Christmas Jeopardy. The kids tended to really enjoy those activities. One thing I just wanted to point out as well that are very common. So Matthew talked about, we both talked about holidays, but typically they will want to know more about America or our country as well. And so that can either be through either customs or foods we eat. So I know, Matthew, you had a whole barbecue lesson as well.
I did have a barbecue lesson.
I had a whole lesson on Japanese food in America, which I basically explained hibachi to them, as well as fortune cookies and things of that nature. That was fun. And then I also explained, for example, American sushi is very different as well, and things like that.
Like a maki roll.
Yes. And so what I did too is I picked out some of the biggest differences between America's school and Japanese school. So one is we drive school buses, we don't wear uniforms, we eat in a cafeteria. And so I'll typically maybe this would be a half lesson as well. I actually did this presentation at my special needs school as well. I remember doing it there. And so explaining just like some of the key differences as well. Like we give tips. We have winter and summer break. So like different manners. So that's another thing that could be like interesting, I would say. But
I was gonna say before you showed that one, a lot of these I think are like more games and activity oriented.
Yes.
That one that you just showed looked a little bit more like what mine usually are.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like mine don't really have like a game element in the PowerPoint itself. What I would usually do is sometimes I would make a video and like have that along with it, and then like have a worksheet or like I would
typically have an interactive worksheet as well though.
Yeah, you're Mr. Activity. Actually, no, Jose is Mr. Activity.
Jose loved his activities.
Jose's activities were crazy. He's the activity legend. He's the activity guru. But I do have one of my only PowerPoint activities. If I could show that.
Yes, I would love to see it.
We'll go through it a little bit. It's pretty quick. It's called Listening Game.
Ooh.
Hey, listen. Nobody got the reference. Made me feel old. It's from Legend of Zelda.
Oh.
I wasn't even alive when this game came out.
I was about to say, I only started with like Breath of the Wild.
But I played it on the 3DS. And now I own a copy. Look how the times have gone. Hey, listen. So, the idea is to practice the students' listening abilities. Okay. So, they are to listen to each sentence that I say in English out loud. They have a paper with like a huge, like big grids and like large cells, large enough to draw in. So the idea is to draw what you hear, okay? And if it's at all close to the picture that eventually comes up on the board, then they give themselves a point. So they're kind of self-grading this.
Okay.
And then we do examples, okay? Because I really want to hammer this in. I got to make it as easy as possible. And using examples like this for activities is a really good way to get everybody on track. So I would say, I would cover up, like on the projector, I would like physically cover it up. I would say, the man is watching TV. And then here's the picture.
Wait, how do you cover it up on the projector?
Well, for just the example.
Okay. Sure.
I would like raise my arm up to emphasize that I'm going to be saying this and you're not going to be seeing the sentence.
Okay.
So here's the picture. And then, Ike, which one do you think gets the point?
Oh, the left one for sure.
Correct. Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, did you draw those as well?
I did draw them.
Wow. That's great.
Plus one point.
See, I really do appreciate all of your little animations, though, and the ones that stay there, because I could have definitely put in a little more effort as far as like that aspect went.
Putting a GIF in a PowerPoint goes a long way.
Right? But I just love your little blinky or repeating icons as well. Those are very fun.
The cat is on a car. So I would say that, and they would have to think, okay.
Can they see this text?
They won't be able to see it. And in fact, for this one, I asked them, like, in the audience, I'm like, what do you think this means? And they're like, okay, Ike, in Japanese, what is this?
Neko wa kuruma no ue ni.
Yeah, pretty good.
Imas.
Imas.
Ah, yeah, good.
So here's the picture of the cat on the car.
Wow, I'm so bad now.
Which one do you think gets it?
I love these drawings that you prepared as well. Left for sure.
Yes. And in fact, that cat is on my Suzuki Wagon R, which I would try.
I like the rat going to space, though.
So it's not a rat on a star. It's a cat on a car.
Oh.
Okay. So now the time begins. Are you ready? Question number 1. And in fact, I pulled out the old notebook. I opened it up.
Asked the questions.
I wonder if I can find them really quickly, because I don't want to take.
Did you do drawings for each of them, or only on those example questions?
Only on those example ones, because I would actually show the picture.
Okay.
Oh shoot, where is it? Oh no, I don't know if I can find it. It would be around here. Okay, flipping back through this notebook is very It's triggering. It's triggering good memories. Can I find it? Probably not. It doesn't matter. This one I know is the girl has long hair. So they'd be thinking, oh wow, she's got some long hair. The girl has long hair.
Oh yeah, well we can see the text underneath, yeah.
Yes, so the text is underneath. So this next one, I'm pretty sure is the dog is riding a bike. The dog is riding a bicycle.
Would you prepare a worksheet for them, or would they just have okay?
I would prepare a worksheet.
So it would say like question 1, question 2, or something.
And you would not believe how many people still got it wrong.
Yeah.
Question number 3. I forget question number 3. Oh yeah, Satoshi and Pikachu are eating donuts. And I got a lot of like reactions from this picture. Nobody liked the picture. I don't like this picture.
I don't like the picture either.
I'm a little uncomfortable by this picture.
I thought Pikachu was eating like a burger.
He might actually
looks like
be.
a hamburger.
The hamburger looks like it's kind of pooping. I didn't want to say it. Question number 4. Oh, Santa's holding a bag of presents. 5. A cat and a dog are playing soccer. The idea is that they get progressively harder.
Yeah.
Okay. Question 6. Oh, Matthew is wearing a Santa hat and playing the guitar. So
is that in my apartment?
That's in mine. Our apartments looked the same.
Well, that's what. Yeah, you can never tell.
Question 7. Oh, Japan is next to Korea on a map.
How would I even draw that?
So I say Japan is next to Korea on a map. You have to like remember what Korea looks like, what Japan looks like.
Yeah, that's hard.
8. This is an AI image, but a car is parked under the tree in front of the house. So they have to, I think they were learning prepositions at the time.
Yeah.
Where they had just practiced it or something. So
how often would you incorporate like a grammatical structure that they're learning in your lessons?
I wouldn't worry about it too much. I asked my JTE and she was like, you can try to do that like every once in a while, but
yeah,
since I was never in like the classes, well, sometimes I would be in the classes where they're learning the grammatical structures. And sometimes I wouldn't be, so it was kind of a gamble or whether or not week by week I knew what they were working on. I could have gone in the book and looked myself, but I don't know. Question number 9 is, of course, 9 girls are sitting in front of a big bottle of Pocari Sweat. And a lot of them didn't like understand bottle. They thought I was saying battle. So I got a lot of like 9 girls battling each other.
How much time would you give them for each question?
So, I wrote this down. This would be 1 minute and 30 seconds.
Okay. And would you repeat the sentence several times? Okay.
Yeah. Question 10. A boy is sitting on a chair next to a toy boat. He is holding a fish.
Is that you?
It is me. And
Nice.
I think the dreaded question 11 is the hardest one. A bear is standing to the left of a castle. There are many cherry blossoms around it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wanted to like try these activities. That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun, but you would like know because you can speak English.
Yeah, but then it just comes down to how good can I draw?
How good of an artist, and we all know your drawing abilities.
I'm not great. Yeah.
You try. That's the important thing.
I have we can wrap this up with an activity that I have as well. Or
Mas?
Okay. I have 2 more activities, but I'll very quickly. So these 2 presentations I have were for our English camp. These were not lessons I shared, but I would have students for the entire day. And Matthew was there, and we had other prefectural ALTs with us as well. And so we would have to come up with anywhere between 5 and 8 lessons that we would have to give them throughout the day. We basically had to come up with a full day's schedule, or 2 days schedule, really, actually. And so each of these activities I would typically try to plan for about an hour, but some would, take more or less. A lot of these I did find from online. So that's also a tool that I would use when I was trying to come up with games. This first one is called Balderdash. How this game works is I will give a phrase that we use in English. And so on a note card, all the students would write down what they think the definition is. And then afterwards, I'll collect the note cards. I will read them all out loud, one of which will be the real definition. And so then I'll have students try to guess and give themselves points for if they actually get what the real definition is.
Fun game.
It is a very fun game. This one is on the more complex side, I would say, though.
Yeah.
Not necessarily grammatically, but just from explaining the rules, this one can be a little confusing.
I think if you're an intermediate language learner, this would be a really fun game to play.
Yeah.
Like it would take a bit to understand the rules probably, but
yeah, it definitely, I should have in hindsight had a practice round of some sort to explain, like demonstrate live, what it is. But so, I do have an example, but I don't know to what extent I did a practice. So the first word is hangry. So I would say, okay, please write down what you think hangry means. And I would, for this, we did have advanced students, so they were required to write it down in English. So there was no Japanese allowed for this activity. And so they would all put in their different predictions. And so this is it's a bit challenging. This one specifically, let me jump ahead. So there are things that are more like phrases or metaphors. So couch potato. So a lot of students would kind of like be thinking, well, what does this mean? They know what couch, they know what potato means, but what does that mean together?
Together.
And so then I'll have the definition.
I love that picture, man.
That's a good
picture.
picture.
It's a potato eating potato chips on a couch.
I like that. It seems like I do remember when I was picking out pictures, I would just very quickly, Google something, then just export it over. But I feel like we both tried to go for some photos that were a little more like funny as well.
Yes, I definitely.
This one had some good responses. I'm all ears. People had no idea what this meant. This was a funny one. Under the weather, feeling sick or depressed, break a leg, good luck. That's a funny one.
Why is he happy?
And one thing I could have done as well is if they weren't so advanced, I feel like you could also write the translation in Japanese.
The transliteration
would be something. So I think going from break a leg and then in Japanese to then what it means in English would also be a good way to do this activity. Riding shotgun, that was a funny one as well. Sitting in the passenger seat, hit the sack, break the bank.
Break the bank.
So I had some activities like that. And then the other activity I did, which I've actually talked about this on the episode with Jose, so I won't go into it, but this was one of my most fun games. I loved this game so much. So that's why I wanted to share it real quick. But I would typically separate the class into two teams, and then they would rotate who would sit in the chair. And so the chair they would be facing the class with the projector behind them.
Oh, you use the projector. I mean, it's a PowerPoint. I get it.
It was a PowerPoint. So I would just use the projector. And so then I would give each person in the chair, it would be basically a competition to see which team would guess first.
Oh,
so
okay.
It would, half the class would be explaining or trying to explain what the word was to the person in the chair. And then so each team is like explaining it to their person.
Oh, so there's two people up there.
Yes. I'm sorry. I really am rushing ahead of myself with this explanation.
Oh, don't. Previet. It's okay.
There'd be two people in the chair. Each person would have half the class as their team. And then only those team members they were allowed to listen to. So they would then, it made it a competition where whoever in the chair said the word first would get a point.
Pitting your students against each other is always a good way to have a fun time in class.
It works really well. So I would show a word on the screen. So the first one is ramen. And I would make them talk, though. I don't think they were allowed to do actions.
Actions?
Yeah, it was all speaking. So It would be like
noodles.
Yeah, they would be like noodle, like Japanese, like
noodle, soup,
and
broth.
Yeah, and so then in the chair, people would be guessing udon, soba, ramen, and then whoever says ramen first gets the point. So I did
America,
food, animals, jobs, holidays,
love,
and places. So I did 5 different categories. So each student would have to guess one from each of the different 5 categories. Food,
balls on a stick,
animals, jobs.
Water.
The jobs were hard because they did actually know
because you can't act it out.
They can't act it out. They have to speak. Yeah.
Spray water.
But as long as the students get really interactive here, it's a really fun game. And typically, it's a game that doesn't require that much English level because you're just showing a simple word, and then they don't even have to use sentences to describe it. Right? They can just
yell stuff out.
Just yell stuff.
Rapid fire. I love that.
As long as, and it is funny too, like hearing their comparisons to how they reach certain words, as well.
And I'm sure the classroom's just like erupting in noise.
Yeah, everyone's just like yelling, and so it's a really good like English camp game. But
wait,
also,
what if the kids like sneak and like listen to the other kids who are?
I mean, you can't stop it, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if they hear it and they get the answer from something the other team said, like it's just unlucky, So
a little unlucky.
I had Children's Day.
Unlucky.
Independence Day. No one could get this. Sometimes I would have to just like reveal the answer.
Jew.
I tried to like increase the difficulty on some of them. So like Emperor's Birthday, Astronaut. Like some of them were pretty difficult, but
Astronaut would be crazy. The Moon.
And then I did like some things that were Japanese, some things that were like American.
That's a good idea. I like how you use the projector for that. I would have probably just written it up on the board, but you have it all prepared.
This makes it so much, just quicker as well. So,
well, very cool.
That was a fun game I did. As well.
I have so many good memories of fun class activities and
it was.
We could make a whole podcast about talking about Japan and our jobs and our lives.
But there are, I guess, a lot of materials out there that exist.
That's true.
Already.
Yeah. Okay. So I pulled up a website. It's called ALTopedia. Go there. I mean, I got at least a few different. Thunder. Oh, helicopter. I got a few different lessons from ALTopedia. Otherwise, I know Kumamoto Prefecture made we talked about this before. They made a collection of different Kumamoto ALTs, lesson ideas.
The other thing I would do often is just look up ESL activities.
Yeah.
And they're pretty similar as far as level of difficulty and scope. So,
or if you're inclined, ChatGPT. If you want to do that. I've sunk into some pretty deep lows when I've just racked my brain for ideas, and I'm like, you know what? Let's use the external brain to figure some of this stuff out. And
sometimes you gotta do it.
Sometimes you gotta do it. Well, Ike, that was really fun. I liked.
Yeah, I enjoyed,
especially the Jikoshoukai.
It had been 2 years since I looked at all these presentations. So
we have. I'm sure you have a lot more PowerPoints. I have a ton more PowerPoints.
Yeah.
Guys, if you want to see this again, I would love to go through more of my old PowerPoints and lesson plans, my barbecue PowerPoints. That time I had to explain what Ramadan was. That time I explained the Vietnam War. Bunch of fun stuff.
I think I have a whole one on Gandhi, it looked like, as well. That was a unit we had.
Let us know in the comments of this video. And while you're down there, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. We're at 70 subscribers on YouTube. We got to bump those numbers up.
We have more in our Discord than subscribers on YouTube.
That's true.
Something's wrong with that.
Something is wrong with that. Other than that, Ike, any housekeeping?
No, it's good to be back in full swing again.
Full weekly swinging. Yeah. About that. I know I'm over apologizing for bad frame rate. Ike, did you check out last week's episode?
No, I haven't yet.
Oh, Mike, you fake fan. I bet you're not even subscribed. Well, last week's episode looks like a stop motion video.
Oh.
A bad one. Because it's very, very choppy. And I do a little preamble at the beginning apologizing for it. But yeah, it's just what it is. So I'm back recording on my PC setup. But I will be editing this episode on my Mac because I got to go mobile for the weekend. And hopefully we can start doing like TikTok videos again. I would love to do that.
Sure.
What was preventing me from doing that on my Mac is my Mac only has a set amount of space left in it. And every time I create a new Deskwarmers Podcast episode, I have to delete the old Deskwarmers Podcast episode. So I had no breathing room to make any other
no space,
space or content. So maybe starting with this episode or possibly the next episode, we can be back on track for other content. It's all about making content, isn't it, Ike?
Always has been.
Whether you're an ALT or you're a podcast talking about ALTs.
So, yeah. Thanks for listening.
Anyway,
See
yeah,
you
thanks.
next week.
Adios.